be on there. And then you can keep up to date with all of our events and everything that we've got going on. So yes, as a nonprofit, we definitely rely on the support of our sponsors. So I just want to give a big shout out to our venue host tonight, Reed Smith, for this beautiful space. Also a big thank you to Vault 12, to Kudos, and ICP Hub UK. We will be hearing from a few of our sponsors in just a moment. In fact, actually, Keish, can I get you to hop on up here, please?
Sure.
There you go.
Oh, cool. Hello, guys. How's everyone? Everyone good? Okay, good. Okay, I see lots of smiles. Everyone's happy today. All right, amazing. Nice to meet you guys. I'm Keish. I'm CEO of ICP Hub in the UK, and I wanted to share something with you guys today. I wanted to see a show of hands of who's had an idea of a business or something that they'd like to build, but never really had the access to the right developers or tooling or maybe skill set. If you are applicable for that, raise your hands. Okay, a lot of people are shy in the room. Okay. Well, I wanted to share with you guys something that's really incredible, and this is something that's been built, by the Definity team and the foundation with ICP, and it's something called Caffeine AI, and it's really something that is taking things, I think, to the next level, and something I'm very excited about. And this is where you can actually create full stack applications just by prompting, right? Sounds like a really great dream, huh? But no, now it's reality with Caffeine AI. So I want to welcome you guys to the self-writing internet. For anyone who's interested in building, interested in, getting your products to market, we have had access to this quite early stage, and I want you guys to scan the QR code to also get access to it.
That's the view.
And we've also been able to basically have some of our people within our hub, and also ourselves as hub leads actually building with it. And we've been able to build out some incredible apps and applications. We're talking front end and back end in a matter of minutes. So, getting an MVP out in a matter of 10 minutes is quite incredible. And being able to have that reiterated and fully built out within a matter of hours, right? So if you guys are interested, please do scan the QR code here. And I hope you guys enjoy CryptoMondays today. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I would love to welcome to the stage Kier from Kudos. Hi, Kier. Kier's nervous, you guys. Don't let her be nervous. We're a supportive crowd here. GM, everyone. It's nice to be here. Seeing lots of familiar faces. I've not spoken in the space for very long, so it is definitely refreshing to be back here. My name is Kay. I run product marketing for Kudos. For those who don't know who Kudos is, you live under a rock. Or you've not been in the space long enough, which is fine.
You need to turn off.
In all seriousness, you don't know what Kudos is.
You need to turn off.
We are a part of the wider ASI Alliance, and we provide the compute backbones for everything that's made possible. So the reason I'm here today is because I'd like to understand how many of you are currently building in the space. How many of you are Web3 builders, AI builders, DP builders? Please put your hands up. Okay, quite a number of you. So everyone who's put their hands up, you understand the difficulty of infrastructure. It can be very expensive, it can be very slow. It's not up to speed, it's not what you need. And that's what we're trying to solve here. We are launching a brand new platform next week on the 23rd of September that is meant to touch on all your pain points. So of course, being very much Web3 native, what we're doing is we're very community first, and we're giving a special giveaway to CryptoMondays. There's a total of over 100,000 rewards available in dollars. However, specifically for CryptoMondays, we're giving away $100 in compute credits to 5 random winners. It's very much a gamified waitlist. So all you have to do is scan the QR code, sign up with your email address. You should receive a verified email. And once you get your verified email, you'll have your own referral code. And for every verified referral, you'll be bumped up 5 spaces on the waitlist. So what's really cool is if you are in the top 100, you will also be qualified for an extra $500 in inference credits. To be honest with me, that's pretty cool. But yeah, if you've got any more questions, feel free to talk to me after the session. I'll be here all night and happy to answer any questions you have on Kudos, ASI, or our very interesting platform coming up. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you, Claire. And next up, we have Omar from OVH12.
Hello everyone. It's great to be here, honestly. First time on Crypto Mondays, but I've been following Kaylin and the Crypto Mondays community for years. And I'm based in London, so please don't get it in the wrong way. But I've been very busy. OVH Cloud has been very busy in the sector. I'm a global sales director for blockchain, Web3 and AI at OVH Cloud. What OVH Cloud does is we offer cloud solutions based on bare metal and public cloud solutions across 44 different data centers in 10 countries. And our solutions are decentralized, as you can tell. We have a very secure platform. We have the blockchain and Web3 expertise, as our blockchain and Web3 dedicated team has over 20 people at OVH Cloud. But nevertheless, we don't serve only blockchain and Web3 clients. I have been the one who kickstarted this entire journey and moved that Web2 into the Web3 sector. It took me 5 years. Here we are now. And what I wanted to tell you is that we are doing that based on private cloud solutions. So very regulated industries, as well supporting banks in their way into crypto and blockchain. We do that over public cloud for startups in the space. Offering startup credits as well, between 10,000 euro to 100,000 euro for startups, so scale-ups, Series A, and 10,000 euro for lower and smaller companies. But as well for the builders in the space who do prefer price to performance ratio, and I don't want your automation, I'm going to do it myself. We offer bare metal solutions, and for just little entrepreneurs, if you want to, build a website, we have that as well, right? Nevertheless, I just wanted to show you the scale of OVH Cloud and our adoption of blockchain and Web3. So OVH Cloud, this is a Markets and Markets Report 2025, showing the blockchain infrastructure space. And as you can tell, OVH Cloud is up there with AWS. We have been announced second this year. So we are supporting over 500 companies, and that's a big revenue, and we are supporting the likes of Alchemy, for example. So I think those are some of the names that you might know. Viewer Labs, Flux, Stately, Disnix. Nevertheless, what we have launched recently as well is a LinkedIn community, where we are going to be supporting founders, supporting startups, supporting members, and obviously try to create some sort of form of communication to people that are passionate about what we do and want to support us. And I have some announcement, but that's during the panel. We are hiring in blockchain and for the blockchain and Web3 team. Thank you very much, Caitlin.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you, Mr. Clicker. Okay, thank you guys so much. So without further ado, we have a stacked panel, and we also have a keynote from none other than Owen Healy. Owen has come all the way to us from Ireland. This beautiful photo that I love so much. Owen, we're very excited to hear from you. So if you could go ahead and come on up, and let's get this party started.
Hey everyone, hope all is well. Great to be here, and thanks very much to Caitlin and the crew for having me. Just presentation is more so geared towards people that are looking to join Web3 native projects, as opposed to things like major crypto exchanges. So I'll just give you a brief rundown how to get involved in the space, and the good, the bad, and the ugly of joining the space as well, because it's not all strawberries and cream. Again, just the great thing about working in this industry is that there's a ton of opportunities, and it's a great place to reinvent yourself as an individual as well. I've had the privilege of seeing developers turn marketers, marketers turn developers, chemists turn BD, a police officer become a Twitter guru. I've seen people completely reinvent themselves, and it's been remarkable to see. And the great thing about this industry is that you're not effectively climbing a ladder you're ultimately, building your own ladder. So that's the great thing about working this space. And yeah, just for anyone looking into the space as well, just it is very much a globally dispersed small industry still, and the power of a good referral for getting a job cannot be understated. I would say that probably 90% plus jobs within this industry are filled by a word of mouth. So again, whilst obviously educating yourself, getting up to speed with the latest trends and technologies is important. Networking is a huge aspect of getting hired in the space. So yeah, if I was to give you any bit of advice, always be connecting. Your best recruiter is you, and your network is your net worth. So yeah. Again, just coming back to the good, the bad, and the ugly of working in this industry. It is 24/7, 365. You're currently online. And again, if you value job security, this industry isn't for you, but we'll get back to that later. So just to join just a few quick points as to why to join the space. A great sense of autonomy, and great sense of ownership. Salaries are generally speaking higher than Web2. The culture is quite simply amazing. It's fun, it's impactful. Personally, got to travel to the various different places. With work, which has been amazing as well. And the culture is fun. You're working with like-minded individuals that want to generally change the world for the better. So, again, job security. Can't emphasize that enough. It is very fickle within the space. I had a conversation with somebody somewhere here earlier who did some research and said the average tenure of a Web3 employee was about 9 months, which, to be honest, I wouldn't actually disagree with that. It'll be interesting to see a study on that. But interview process as well can be long and draining, and oftentimes you can as an applicant you can feel like a consultant. I often say to people that jumping into this industry, you don't want a job in Web3, you want a purpose in Web3. So just key considerations to make, because it is a great opportunity working in this space to completely reinvent yourself. But I must stress that it does come with sacrifices. So just evaluate, how are my current skills relevant within this industry? What skills do I need to build or improve upon? What do you want from your new career as well? Personal values, how much do I value job security? Again, can't emphasize that enough. What sacrifices are you willing to make to facilitate this change? Are you responsive to change, and are you prepared to work in fast-paced environments? Because there's a lot of multitasking and things change by the hour. No hour is the same. Never mind, any day is the same. So personal branding, we'll touch on this in the panel, but been very successful for my own career. So again, if you're GitHub account, if you're a developer, hiring manager will often go into your GitHub account immediately, see what you do. They want to see proof of interest. Again, if you're a designer, same applies. Again, social media as well, good presence on Twitter as well. Can't emphasize that enough. Again, it's an open source industry and people generally want to see proof of interest. First place they go to is your portfolio or your social media accounts. So Solana, so hot right now, So Super Teams has been amazing in onboarding people into the space and has been a key driver of Solana's success, in my opinion. Again, I was on a panel with the head of DevRel from Solana a month ago, and he said that in the last quarter, Solana onboarded as many new devs into the ecosystem as it did in all of last year. And Super Teams is remarkable. It helps people rise together. And there's a London chapter here, so anyone looking to join the space or is even crypto curious, would heavily recommend them to check that out. So demonstrate proof of interest. Nobody's going to give you a job in this industry or give you a start because you say you're passionate. You have to prove it. So demonstrate proof of interest. Do the University of Nicosia free course, for example. Happy to send you a link afterwards. Build your own Web3 portfolio. It could be some articles, social media tweets, whatever it may be. Behance portfolio, GitHub. Show proof of interest. Build your network. Build your personal brand. Participate in communities, DAO societies. Start your own pet project. Do some pro bono work. Very, very important because if you're doing some pro bono work, not only are you getting a very good reference into the space, you're getting your foot into the door, you're getting an understanding of Web3 culture crucially as well. So, participate in hackathons, follow VC money as well. Think like a recruiter. Recruiters like to follow VC money as well. So as a job seeker, you should follow VC money as well. If you're a designer, you want a job in the space, not many design jobs maybe. you reach out to a founder directly. Listen, I want to help you on a part-time basis. Give me a shot. Yeah, and oftentimes that could lead into a full-time role, for example. So yeah, I tend to organise meetups up against the clock, so hence the fast speech. Yeah. So yeah, to develop a relations playbook, and this just wants to elaborate on what I kind of touched on earlier. Education, putting yourself out there, and networking. Again, that's the key to successfully getting a job within this industry. Networking, putting yourself out there, and ultimately upskilling. So yeah, just reach out to any founder directly. You'll find that there's a lot of people in this industry willing to help you succeed. Yeah, I can't emphasize that enough. There's a lot of good people in this industry willing to help. So if you're looking for any kind of experience within the industry, pitch them as if, how can I save you time? So if it's a social media manager, reach out to if you're an aspiring social media manager, reach out to the CCO. Tell him or her how you can save him or her time, and that's just a simple hack. And yeah, so thanks very much for having me. And yeah,
Thanks, Owen. By the way, do you know where's a really good place to get education as well as network? Right here. Okay, so let's get going on this panel. Manny, I would love to welcome you up here to the stage. Here you go. I'm going to hand you the mic because you're the moderator.
Thanks very much.
There you go.
Hello, everyone. Hi, so yeah, my name's Manny. I'm the third native is a Web3 talent partner. We specialize in providing companies solutions which optimize them for finding the right individuals in the most efficient time, but at the same time, upholding their employer brand. We've got a panel today just to discuss various different aspects of hiring in Web3 and trying to find in Web3, job in Web3, sorry. So would panel lights come up? Everyone? Yeah.
Oh.
Don't be shy.
my picture's there, but
Okay, so obviously you've just met Owen, but if you'd like to introduce yourself first off, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm the marketing manager at Plexus. We started in 2017. We are probably the biggest Web3 recruiter in the space. Yeah, that's it really.
Omar.
Hello, everyone, again. Omar Abisa, Global Sales Director for Blockchain, Web3, and AI at OVH Cloud.
And hello, I'm Ignacio Palmera, co-founder of Bondex, the human bond exchange, and we are the leading Web3 professional network.
Brilliant. Yeah, so first question is going to be for Omar, simply because you've worked in Web2, well, hiring in Web2 and Web3. What would you say the main differences of hiring in Web2 compared to Web3?
Well, first of all, how do you think about Web2 job and how do you think about Web3 job? Well, I think Web3 is just another, let's say, transformed iteration of business, right? So we want to do things more efficiently. We want to do things a bit differently. And I can a bit relate into a transition from Web2 into Web3, right? So what you could do possibly to make that happen, to understand what could be the road is to understand what the technology is really, right? So Web3 technology is based on blockchain, and not many people that are trying to get jobs in Web3 really understand what the technology is really shifting. The other aspect is, you understand kind of what the technology does, but then you don't understand the ecosystem. So the hiring in Web3 is quite difficult because you are looking for a skill set that many people are trying to prove to you that they have. But if you don't have the right knowledge, passion to show it out there, and relentless, let's say, social media profile, it's hard to get that trust to hire. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. And Owen, obviously you've been in the space for quite some time now and have had experience in placing for a few years. We all know that crypto moves extremely fast. What would you say? How would you say is sort of the hiring landscape has changed over the last few years?
Yeah, great question. I guess it's a bit more specialized, it's fair to say. In the last 18 months or so, it's becoming a lot more niche. And yeah, that'll be the main aspect that the industry is maturing a bit more as well. I genuinely do feel that the hires are thinking, companies hiring are thinking with a longer time frame as well, and the projects themselves as well. They're a lot more diligent in terms of preserving runway, because 2021 was a bit fucking it was a circus. So yeah, no, I think that this new wave of projects raising money, they're a lot more diligent in terms of their finances. They're a lot more cautious, and ultimately that sometimes can relate into longer time to fail, less impulsive hiring, but ultimately it's good for the industry. So yeah, I think the industry is go through that adolescent phase.
Yeah, nice. Quick one, sorry. Just to follow up on that, you started off by saying that it's a lot more niche and specialized, right? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so again, projects that they're looking for specific experience in relation to previous employers. So and again with that as well, they're looking for more location specific. So like again, if you had a Rust developer placement or a Golang developer placement, for example, they might want somebody specifically with just DeFi experience. That might be fair enough, but now specific, maybe liquid staking experience, for example, very small little things like that. And on regards to location, a lot more specific as well. To be honest, sometimes it feels like it didn't really matter in the old days where somebody was from, except for North Korea, of course. But nowadays, it's more it's more Europe, US, Dubai. In terms of specific locations, they have a bit more niche in terms of location as well. Probably noticing that yourself for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot. Now, Sarah, I actually saw put your content on LinkedIn about the demand for marketers in the last, say, 6 months. Where do you see the demand is going to be in the next 12 to 18 months, if you were to hazard a guess?
I think something that we've seen at Plexus is a lot more of a shift towards Rust over Solidity in terms of like languages. I think then also we are seeing a lot more, as Owen said, like specific roles within a vertical. So like say before you used to get a project would want like a marketing manager, or they'd want a CMO. Now they might want a product marketing manager, a Twitter specialist, a growth specialist. Like you just going to see a lot more roles within each vertical, basically. I think that's kind of what we're seeing. And I think there's also a bit of obviously a shift towards people that have a bit more of a TradFi corporate background, like coming into Web3, obviously because of stablecoins and the kind of intersection of TradFi and Web3. So I think we're seeing a lot more of those roles, a lot more of the kind of general counsel and compliance roles and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, nice. And Ignacio, so what advice would you give to people trying to come into the space in order to stand out in a crowded space? Not personal branding, by the way, because I know we've spoken about that.
I think Owen touched on it, which is trust, right? I think referrals are the most powerful recruitment tool anyone has, because someone else is putting their trust on the line by recommending you, right? So I also like Ryan, I used to spell a lot, is your network is your net worth, and leveraging it properly is the way to go. So if I was to come into the space, I would first reach out to my network, learn about the different companies that they're working in, try to find something that I'm interested in so I can show my proof of interest, right? If I'm passionate about something, I'm going to have a much easier time demonstrating that I'm confident in it, that I'm very interested in that space. And I'm going to be able to build trust with my potential employer. So I think it's all about trust. You need to solve for trust. So the more that you can do to increase your reputation, right, the better that the chances that you have to get into Web3.
Good stuff. Thanks for that. And Owen, I'm a Web3 founder. I'm looking for my first hire. what advice would you give me to spot for red flags?
So yeah, if you're a Web3 founder, this applies to both candidates and founders as well. You speak of maybe the 30, 60, 90-day rule. So for founders, I would say have a plan in place for what you're looking for that person to achieve in the first 30, 60, and 90 days, so that there's a clear roadmap for the person you have, whether it's developer or marketer, what KPIs do you have set out? Again, go back to 2021, again, in this case, we just want, there's nothing that you do in a lot of cases. So yeah, and for candidates looking as well, don't be afraid to ask companies, especially first-time founders, what you're looking for in the first 30, 60, and 90 days, so that they have a clear roadmap for you. Because again, job security isn't really a thing in this space, and again, there's no likelihood is you might walk into a red flag or a pit hole, but you certainly don't go looking for it.
Okay, thanks a lot. Omar, got a question for you. Right, so obviously you've explained that you've basically been an entrepreneur where you've essentially set up a business, a Web3 business within an existing business. What advice could you give for anyone out here that could potentially be in the crowd that is thinking of doing the same thing? Like, how were you able to convince your sort of internal stakeholders to actually invest in a technology that they might not understand, and at the same time invest in people internally to upskill them?
A great question. Thank you very much. I mean, it's hard work because it took me 5 years to build that kind of shift at OVH Cloud, right? It's a big company, 3,000 people at OVH Cloud, right? So it really is a Web2 enterprise. Now, but every single business kind of defines their roadmap and their shift in strategy based on their profitability, profit margins, future-proof abilities, as well as problem solving, like how to optimize, right? So optimization, profit margins, future-proofness. Whatever you do in that company, you can be a marketeer, you can be a sales guy. If you're a marketeer, look at things that Web3 does better. Okay? Let's say, I don't know, you're working in a marketing space. What Web3 does better? Maybe you want to think about a new strategy using Web3 tooling to do address-based ad tech, right? Maybe if you're a sales and you have the sales methodology in you, but what problem can you solve without understanding actually what blockchain and Web3 is, right? Now, understanding that's the first step. So the second step would be, how can I define a business plan internally inside a company to become that KOL, that thought leader inside? And I guess the rest is going to follow if you have the right leadership, if you have enough perseverance and enough guts, I would say. Once the hard part is for the train to depart, but once the train departs, it's starting to be easy. That's kind of how I think about it. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, I'm going to be a bit cheeky with this one. I'm going to ask everyone the same question to get a well-rounded view of what everyone actually thinks. Now, I've seen on LinkedIn and on X over the last year, you often see people complaining that Web3 hiring is broken, whether it will be someone who is a hiring manager, whether it will be a candidate, or whether it will be a recruiter. So I just want to go around and ask, what's your opinion? And if you think it is broken, where do you think it is broken?
Great question, and yeah, I could talk for hours on this topic alone, but again, sometimes the interview process can be too long, and sometimes some projects will be too specific. But what I would say a lot of times is some projects can be very ecosystem myopic, and it can be very frustrating as well, because you have a great candidate, but they can be very focused on logos and brands, whereas they don't. I think the projects hiring within the space, they overcompensate on the previous employers in determining who to interview and who to make a decision on. And yeah, Again, sometimes from a marketing perspective as well. Yeah, I guess, yeah, some projects reward the wrong behavior, I would say, in terms of, yeah, yeah, they want someone to be, I guess, this Twitter or guru and grow their socials, and rather than build a long-term trusted brand. But yeah, it will keep it positive.
Okay.
I don't think Web3 hiring's broken at all. I think we're probably seeing more jobs and more opportunities than we've ever seen. Definitely in Texas. I think it's difficult, and I think that's why all of us have built a job out of basically helping people make it less difficult. I think in crypto, you obviously get a lot of first-time founders, right? They don't know the process. They don't know how to structure a hiring process. Maybe it's the last thing on their mind while they're busy going out and fundraising. So I think there's a lot of education that has to be done in terms of like how to structure processes. And I think that's where, you know, recruiters get a bad name, but I think that's where recruiters can really come in and be quite valuable. It's like helping people structure a process, helping you give that professional brand to the candidates, because you're not going to have good candidates like hang around. They're not going to stay around and stick through a long process if you're dragging your feet and you've got distracted doing something else. So I think it's not broken at all. I think we're seeing more opportunities than ever. Yeah, it's definitely been a good year for us so far. So
Nice.
So I'm going to spin it a bit.
Go ahead.
The hiring manager,
Feel free.
I'm a global sales director, and I think it's good to take that time and announce that we are hiring a fully paid internship in London office for blockchain and Web3 inside sales representative. Okay, working directly with our team at OVH Cloud. Okay, now what I would like to say is why, in my opinion, the candidates are not doing enough to be able to give me that trust credit for me to establish and the trust to hire someone based on an hour conversation, a single CV. I know what I need from that candidate, all right? But if that person is not even researching the company sometimes, not understanding anything that happens in blockchain and how does it work, you need to make it easy. Maybe some personal branding as well, right?
Okay. Nice.
Thank you.
All right. Well, at Bondex, we're literally working on using blockchain and AI to fix a lot of the issues that we have. But I think it's crucial to say something is broken. Web2 hiring in general is very inefficient and expensive. It's not a Web3 problem. All the infrastructure and systems that we're using are quite obsolete. If you think about the concept of a resume, PDF, of things that someone claims they've done with a bunch of brand names, and that's their filtering. And then you get a hiring manager that's meant to sift through 300 of them until they find a good one. Think about it, it's ridiculous. The future of work is meant to be here, it's meant to be fractional, it's meant to be dynamic. And we're using a PDF, right? Or a LinkedIn profile that is also unverified, right? So what I think is we're a new industry and we're in a good position to actually get really, really great talent in it, but we need to think outside of the box to do things that maybe are different in work too. One of the things I like to do, or I like to look for when I hire internally or I help our clients, is proof of grit, right? Show me a time that you were actually challenged at the previous company. Proof of curiosity, because you have to be adaptable, because when things change so much across the industry all of the time, right? So we're literally working on this issue. I think that the killer use case for blockchain is one, verifications, having verified credentials when you're looking at resumes, and then AI to help me streamline the matching of the candidates and shortlisting so I can get to the right people faster. And that is all. Check out Bondex.
Nice. Good stuff. Okay. And Owen, again. Right. So what would you say, what are the common misconceptions that you believe companies in Web3 have about hiring? So, if any.
Misconceptions, yeah. So I guess, yeah, I guess, yeah. So for example, obviously the most one is the salary side of things. Thinking you can get a genie for but that's part and part of the process. Again, a lot of times the first time founders, they kind of they learn over time after the first couple of profiles maybe, and working with the recruiters. So yeah, it's all a learning process. But common misconceptions among companies hiring is, I guess, yeah, that people want to work in an office. I think there's a huge hunger for remote work across the candidate space, and I think we are entering this era where there is more hybrid opportunities entering into the crypto space. And I can assure you that the hunger among the candidates is higher than ever for remote work. And yeah, I was even speaking to a lady last week that was on 120K in an office job, but was willing to work for 80 for a fully remote job. So that's one thing that I would say that I think people think that maybe they want to work in an office, they don't. But the demand for office workers is more and more apparent.
I would just also add to that. I think a lot of founders are high on their own supply when it comes to their project, and they think that their project is the coolest thing that's ever happened in the whole world, and that they're going to get the best talent, and the best talent are going to drag through their 2-month interview process or whatever. And I think it's just not the case. Obviously, good talent will have 5 or 6 other processes going on. You still have to sell them on the project. It's not just a case of oh, they want to work for us. You guys are valuable too, right? You need to be sold on the project. You need to be sold on whether it's reputable. Is it still going to be here in a year? Who else is working on it? What have the founders done? And I think sometimes that's overlooked. They just think, well, as you said, they don't want to pay as much for good talent, and they think, well, we're just building the coolest thing in the whole world. And it's no, you need to sell it. And sometimes, recruiters do a good job of selling your project for you, and that's why we're valuable. Thanks.
That's good stuff. Anyone else? Ignacio, do you have any things to comment on that?
I would say that it's a misconception and also something that, I've been in the space since 2017, come from a TradFi background, been loving working in the space, but one of the disillusionments I have is let's make a quick buck. Right? Nothing worthwhile is easy. Everything worthwhile is painful. And the journey, as the cliche goes, ends up becoming the destination. So if I was hiring a misconception, if someone's we're going to get rich quick here, how many tokens and how fast, and it's going to be easy, it's no, my friend. And this is going to be a painful road, but it's going to be worth it because it's going to give you opportunity to grow as a person, as a professional, right? But so I'm not sure if that was a misconception, but maybe something I'd look out for when I'm interviewing and looking at talent. Is this person here for a quick ride, thinking that they're going to make a quick buck, or they're committed, curious, and here to really push the envelope and push the industry forward?
I mean, the biggest challenge that I see is that, I love Web3. I live and breathe Web3, but at the same time, I have a Web2 responsibility in an enterprise, right? So aligning that kind of spirit with the processes in Web2 is something that, well, some of the founders in Web3 and crypto projects, yes, they can do their own wild west inside, but more and more adoption is going to happen in Web2. This is what we want. This is what we need in the Web3 space, and this is where the market cap is going to drive us to the entire adoption of crypto solution and blockchain. And sometimes it would be easier if that etiquette is still kept. I'm not sure it's a misconception, but this is a challenge.
Okay, good stuff. Right, one thing that's a buzzword, we've probably said it 3 or 4 times already up here, and it's all over X with professionals in Web3 as well, is this concept of, build a personal brand. Okay? What specific tips can you give someone about sort of building their personal brand? And so.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, they've all been great questions. So yeah, we're going. But I guess personal branding is more than shit posting and memes and whatnot. And I can't emphasize that enough. That personal branding is as much offline as it is online, and the goal of any personal brand is to cultivate a good online presence in order to harness and nurture and grow offline relationships as well. So the goal of a personal brand is, what are people saying about you when you're not in the room? And it won't always be good, but if the majority of it is good, well, then that's good enough.
I actually think personal brand is kind of overrated. I think you can use, if you're the type of person who wants to have a personal brand, then you can do it and you can leverage it, and you will potentially get further in your career than you would if you didn't have it. But not everyone is meant to have a personal brand, right? Otherwise, it's just everyone in here going, look at me, look at me. It's just boring and not interesting. I used to have a personal brand. I used to do like content creator stuff. And honestly, like I'm kind of sick of it, which I know is sort of dumb because I'm up here on a panel, but I could definitely leverage personal brand more, and I don't, because I'm just kind of at the point where I'm like actually like having privacy. So don't feel like you have to have a personal brand. It's not the only way to do it. Sometimes personal brand is like helping other people out or doing a good job or building your reputation by, you know, I've gone to events and I've seen the same person at an event 5 times and then I'm like, oh, they have a personal brand. It could just be like, you know, how you conduct your business. Like, it doesn't mean you have to be all over Twitter, like talking about yourself and making videos, in my opinion.
I appreciate your opinion. I have to put a bit of a Web2 spin into it, a bit of an enterprise spin into it. Look, I know as Ignacio has mentioned, our processes are a bit inefficient. This was exactly, one of the areas where blockchain technology can improve Web2, right? So this is exactly what we're talking about. If you're in Web2 and if you're in some sort of position in a vertical, in an industry, what is that Web3 spin that can improve those ecosystems? Nevertheless, I have to fight with both, right? And just imagine I have an hour to review a 3D of someone. Yes, it's broken. I have it on a PDF, right? And then I actually had a interview the other day, and I asked someone, so what is blockchain? And someone answered to me, blockchain is the future, and he couldn't say anything else. Guys, let's be honest. If that person would have a profile, and nevertheless I did check it, right? If I would see that that person has been posting something about blockchain, has been putting some opinion online, I would have that bonding experience with that person, and would have probably a second thought that might have been a stress factor or something else. Without it, how can I know? What are you leaving me with? What decision-making criteria are you leaving me? I need to be certain that I'm making the right decision for the business, right, at the end of the day. So, in my opinion, personal branding, community. Thank you, Caitlin, for doing this, because this is amazing, and people here are already doing more than most. That's my point.
If I may, I think if you try to do all of the channels at once, that's a bad idea. But focus on a specific channel based on skill set, interests, right? If you're a kick-ass engineer, should you be on Twitter all the time? That's probably a misfit match, right? However, your GitHub score is going to be a better signal of your skill set and your interests, right? So focus on, unless you're an engineer and you enjoy tweeting all the time, that depends, right? But you're better off focusing on fewer channels and making them really good and showcasing those channels to your potential employer than trying to be all over the place. So in terms of personal brand, pick a channel that you enjoy also being at. That you enjoy that community, build that network there, and build really great content, right? If you're just copying of ChatGPT and shit posting like Owen put it, that's not going to be of much value to anyone. However, if you're an engineer, contribute to open source things, get some stars on your profile. If you're a designer, give me some jobs on Upwork. Getting a few stars on there will be a good idea, right? If you're an influencer or marketer, then yes, Twitter and having some opinions there about writing some about playbooks, about how to get, how to do growth, how to get community engagement. If you're still selling airdrops, switch industry. But the playbooks are constantly changing. So yes, in short, and to summarize, pick the channel that makes sense based on your skill set and your interests, and work really hard at it. And that will be a great first impression when you're looking for a job.
Brilliant. Can I quickly add something? Because we've conducted that OVH Cloud research. We've asked 100 companies, 100 companies in UK, 100, well, not in Europe, sorry, 100 blockchain companies with variety of size of employee size, from 1 to 400. So there was C-level decision makers, there were some developers. So I'm not going to speak specifically about each of the results, but what was really shocking to me is what came out of that research is that LinkedIn is actually an informational platform that most people are going to for information. Then it was technology guides, and then it was Twitter. It was a surprise for me because I always thought it's going to be Twitter. Thought I'm going to share.
Okay. I'm going to add my 2 pence worth on this because I've seen this. I've seen some people do this really well. And there was one guy that I met at a conference in Fabric, a Web3 conference in Fabric about 4 years ago. And his career, when I first met him, he was doing a keynote on personal branding. And he's got, I can't remember what he's got like a podcast now. And he's like a massive KOL. Got really good brand partnerships with some massive brands. And one of the things that he done is he wrote one Substack post about, I think he first started about education, so talking about blockchain from like basic concepts, and then he just was very consistent in writing one blog post on Substack a week, and then after like 4 or 5 years, he had a portfolio which he obviously used as proof of work. And over that long period of time, he amassed a following from that, and used that as obviously he used Substack to build his personal brand. So my advice would be, whether you're a developer or whether you're a marketeer, choose something that you are passionate about, or an area within the space that you are you like or you're specifically interested in, and just write about it and be consistent about it. And over time, you will have like a large body of work, and you'll be seen as someone within this space that is an expert in that specific thing. And that's for anyone that is looking for a bit of direction. That's if you're in marketing, and obviously if you're tech and you're a developer, open source projects are sort of the best way to sort of get your hands dirty, and over time your GitHub contributions will hold weight and stand up, because loads of hiring managers, one thing that they do say to me when they're hiring for developers is they want someone's GitHub, and they'll sort of review the code. So if you're a marketer, I'd say create Substack. If you're a developer, concentrate on building on open source projects. Okay.
Very good. Okay. I'll steal mine. No, we're gonna do some Q&A. Anybody has any questions? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hey guys, thank you so much for your time and your thoughts. Could you just tell us a bit more about the interview process and what are you looking for in candidate? And I know that it's job dependent, but how many interviews do you think that there should be, and how should they be constructed? Just talk to us a bit more about it from a recruiter point of view, but also from a candidate point of view. What should I do as a candidate, essentially?
Okay, so let me just, are you asking how many interviews a typical process actually has?
No, it's more of a what are they looking for in a candidate?
Yeah.
From like the both sides, so as a recruiter,
Yeah.
and then obviously as a candidate,
Okay.
what skill set should I?
Okay, so first and foremost, I'd say passion. Like if you've got no experience and you're sort of grassroots, one of the things that we asked or hiring managers are looking for is individuals that are passionate about the space. So this is why, like, one of the best things that I could do for a candidate, or one of the tools that I could use in order to sort of sell a candidate in and maximize their chances of getting an interview, is if I could say, look, this guy is really passionate about DeFi. Look, he's got 36 blogs on various different aspects of DeFi. That would hold weight. Okay, so you have to prove that you are passionate about the space. Like Omar just said, the guy actually got through and he got an interview, but he wasn't able to actually explain what the blockchain actually was. Now, for me, that's ludicrous, right? That's absolutely crazy, right? So if you want to stand out from the crowd and you want to actually prove to the hiring manager that you're worthy of taking being offered a chance, you have to go above and beyond and prove to them that you're really passionate about the space. What was the second part of the question? Sorry.
So as a recruiter,
Yeah.
on the recruiter side.
So like for me as a recruiter,
Yeah, so I feel like you explain why you're looking at a candidate,
yeah,
but it's more of as a candidate now.
Yeah.
Check. Oh, sorry.
yeah,
As candidates, could you just tell us a bit more about how we should conduct ourselves in the first interview? Because I remember getting on uni, it was like nerve wracking, and I'll tell them a bit more about what I did in uni and then a bit of experience. But I've always struggled to understand what exactly is expected from me, especially in the second interview or the third interview.
okay. First things first. Part of the process that I do when I speak to candidates, when I'm interviewing or sending them to interview, is to actually explain what the business that they're actually going to be interviewing for is all about. So, like, I'll make sure that the candidate is researched on the business and the organization. So when the client does say, "Hey, what do you know about my company?" you've actually got something to actually say. The good thing about Web3 is that loads of founders are doing podcasts. Okay, so if you do, it doesn't. Well, I'll give you information for you to do research on, but it's not hard to find a podcast or sort of a live stream or an Ask Me Anything with a founder. And I believe, yeah, you've got to do research. Did you say you was at university? You just came out of university?
Oh no.
Okay, cool. Well, sorry, I thought you said you just came out of university. But
When I did it, I remember like beginnings. It was like quite challenging for me.
yeah, just research. Okay. Give there's basic questions. Why would you want to work for the company? Why do you want to work in Web3? And what is it about that company that actually appeals to you? So yeah, research basically.
But what is that job? If you're looking for a sales job, for example, okay, well, what are you going to sell? You've got to understand the product and what does it solve, right? If you want to prepare, well, obviously, as Manny said, yeah, research the company, but equally, think about what the problem solves and to which industries you could apply that software that you're going to sell. I'm not saying, it's a software, we sell cloud, but who are you going to target to, I don't know, decrease your sales cycle? What are the sales methodologies and the research perspectives that you're going to use? Think as a founder in that business, what he would need or what problems could he face and anticipate the question.
Okay, next question.
So yeah, not necessarily a fully formed question, but I want to kind of give something and take something away to the end point. The kind of positive that I wanted to add was if you've done like public speaking, especially if it's technical, add that to your profile, add that to your CV, add that to your portfolio. You have links to videos if it's it's been recorded. It's quite powerful. People can actually see you talking about something you're passionate about. The thing I wanted to take away was the kind of the GitHub thing and the open source contributions. So we're starting to hire people from other industries, and even in our own industry, even in Web3, crypto. I had recruiters from Binance ask me, can I give them examples of things I've worked on at Kraken? And the answer was, no, I can't. I've signed something to say I can't do that.
Yeah.
So not everyone has work they can share openly because people are quite security conscious. And we're starting to see the industry hiring people from the security services, from Kinetic and from BAE systems and stuff like that. They're not going to have a GitHub profile. They're not allowed to. So then you need to be careful about that selection criteria.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point. As the space is actually maturing, I'm finding that we're spending a lot more time sort of educating clients in terms of their expectations of candidates, okay, and recruitment processes, because Web2 is completely different from sort of Web3. So that's a really good point there. And it is something that I'd say in the last 2 months, I've had about 4 or 5 different conversations with founders about the fact that they've got to be a bit sort of flexible in their criteria based on the candidates and what it is that they're actually looking for. So that's a great point there.
Just to add to that, and that does happen, it's true, and my answer is going to cover a little bit of the previous question. If I'm an employer, I think a case study is actually really important. It's a way to try before you buy. I encourage the employer to actually get involved into maybe doing a real life project of something they're already working within the company, a la hackathon style, right? And then you're gonna get to see how the person actually works and how you work with them, right? Or there's the classic 30, 60, 90 day, playbook that you want from that new person to kind of run with what they do in the company, right? And that would be to me actually the final, the final interview stage is that case study, kind of like a live fire drill test before I hire someone. They need to have confidence.
There's an angle there. Look, instead of here's the hiring test, but here's the hiring test that will work off with us.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I fully agree. It's a great point.
Okay, we got a few more questions here.
Hi everyone. I'd like to believe I will be speaking for a lot of us here. I've worked in Web3 the last 4 to 5 years, full time. So I've had my fair share of interviews. I can't tell you the number of times I've been through a final stage interview with a presentation I probably spent more hours than I should have. Conversations with I don't know how many people. To only be told after that I'm overqualified. Oh, sorry, it's just market intel. So my question really is, and again, I think a lot of us here have been in the space for a while. What we've touched on a lot today is how to get your foot through the door. My question is, how do I get my foot through the door and strike the balance between coming across strong and being taken advantage of, really? Or maybe take advantage is a very strong word, but I guess showing my value without oversharing, because that's my real question. Because unfortunately, that is the reality for a lot of people. I'm not the only one. I know that for a fact. A lot of us have been in the space. So I think it is reality for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question and valid point. Does anyone want to take this on?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the sad reality of the work or the industry that we're in. No point in saying otherwise. I always say to candidates that if you feel like an external consultant, you better be having the conversation and say, listen, what's actually happening here? And I generally tell candidates as well, if the take-home assignment is any more than 3 hours, well, then you should be getting paid for it. And yeah, listen, I guess the sad reality is sometimes candidates can be taken for a ride, and us, the recruiters, can be taken for a ride as well, because projects come in, we're hiring, but ultimately interviews are, yes, they want to see you're passionate, and that's great, come across as passionate, but also I can understand the point you don't want to be giving away free intel and being taken advantage of as well. And sadly, that interviews are a way of getting ideas, because sometimes some of these projects are very vague, if any, product market fit. Listen, it's something that you need to trust your gut and be strong and be firm and don't take any shit, basically.
Yeah, just like to add. Sorry, you know that.
So just super quick. Reputation goes both ways. So doing the research about the company is super important, right? Because you don't want to be taken for a ride. Again, I think that does happen a lot. One thing we approach from a platform perspective, like Web3 Careers, if any of you are familiar with that job board, Bondex powers that job board, right? The moment we realize that the hiring manager is not active, that job position gets less visibility within the marketplace, right? And what we're trying to do with that is that the people that are, showing good behaviors as an employer, and they're, giving feedback fast, and they're interviewing fast, and they're showing that this is actually a hot job that needs to be, better presented within the platform. And I think, that's the way we're trying to get more velocity on both ways of the marketplace. Because I actually think candidates are always quite keen. The problem always comes, in my view, on the other side of the marketplace. People get distracted, the priorities change in the organization, and people are usually not very transparent because they're too busy or, etc. So do your research and then, go to Bondex.
Okay, time for one more question, I think.
Hi guys, thank you for the talk. So specifically by everyone on the panel. So you was talking about 30, 60, 90 days in terms of KPIs. So of course Web3 is fast moving. Obviously within any job sector you still have entry, intermediate or advanced responsibility. So let's say for the premise of entry or intermediate kind of level for someone that's trying to transition into the role. Everyone is kind of pitching themselves as an expert or a tech whiz. So in terms of founders that are very obviously ambitious, what specific kind of things would you actually kind of tell like it like a perspective kind of candidate in terms of their capabilities? Because obviously people are gonna oversell themselves and try and see whether they could just get in and say, oh, I built an MVP for this so and so within 6 to 8 weeks. I'm trying to branch off on my own and do some contracting work. What kind of clarity between the 30, 60, 90 days will correlate to the seniority in terms of job responsibility?
Yeah, it's a very big question. I guess it depends on the discipline and individual skill set. But again, what I would say is that an interview shouldn't be just an employee always trying to impress an employer. Again, things like job security is very fecal in this industry in a lot of cases. Now it is improving, granted, but again, it is still coming out of the Wild West phase, coming into the adolescence, I would say, or coming out of adolescence rather in many respects. But to answer that question specifically, I would say that have a deep conversation, a mutual exploration, try and get the employer, first of all, to understand what's the roadmap for him or her in the role, and then work out a plan from there effectively and what I should do and where my best skill sets my skills can be accrued. And so ultimately from the job description, you should, in often cases, understand, and from the talks as well, understand the non-negotiables and how can I, if it's a brand, for example, work on the brand. If it's a BD, kind of target specific group, projects that you want to target, things like that. So ultimately, it's a case of mutual exploration, and that's where interview processes can be good. In terms of understanding where their pain points are and seeing where can my skill set meet those meet their challenges at the moment. And I know that's a very vague answer, but to be fair, it's a very vague question. So.
Yeah, one thing I will say is that you never really want to over-promise and under-deliver. And I think as a recruiter, my job is to basically sell you in on your skills and sell you in on your strong points. So there'll be a conversation way before having to actually do that 30, 60, 90-day plan to ensure that you're fully aware and it is within your capabilities. Because, yeah, you mentioned there about overselling yourself and so on and so forth. But I'd say, first and foremost, just be honest, okay? And just be honest with your capabilities. You're much better communicating your strengths in an honest way than trying to oversell yourself, because like everyone on this panel has said, it's quite a fickle industry, and like job security is there, but there are people that lose their jobs very quickly, and you just don't want to be one of those people that get found out in the first sort of 3 to 6 weeks and sort of get let go.
Yeah, sorry, just to elaborate on that as well, just don't treat it as a traditional interview, an employer-employee interview situation. Treat it more like a date, trying to get to know each other, ask questions, and then don't be afraid to ask difficult questions. Question the roadmap, the runway, various different things like that, and see if it's right for you, because it's Web3, it isn't a conventional 9-to-5 job. Yes.
Cool.
Very good. Did anyone want to add anything else? Any other panelists want to say anything?
I think, I want to spin that question a bit, if that's okay, I understand KPIs are important, but, the founders that have crypto projects, and I'm sure the entire panel is aware that it can be, an MVP they're looking to expand, or some entry-level project, 20, 30 people. There's not a lot from business development side, for example. I'm going to talk about sales, okay? That's essentially my background. There's not a lot of product that they have to onboard themselves to understand how they can solve it and sell it. But if it's a Web3 job, I don't know, some sort of Web2, like BlackRock selling, financial services, or Alchemy selling infrastructure, or Kudos, or OVH Cloud, right? Where we have 90 products based on cloud computing, and every single product has different capabilities. The training itself for me is going to take 3 months for that person, and I'm only talking about cloud, right? So it is a risk from both sides, and it needs to be the effort from both sides as well. Thank you.
Last thing, super quick. The 30, 60, 90-day thing, at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be so specific. Like, I'm just trying to have a conversation with you and see how you think, right? So there's no reason to exaggerate either. I'm trying to look for your capacity and curiosity to learn. So I'm not expecting you to know everything. I just want to see how you think, right? So I wouldn't say that I'm looking for all the KPIs in the world. Some promising, always under promise and over deliver. It's more about your thinking process and your systems of problem solving that I'm looking for when I'm doing a 60-90 day or case study this way. I would focus more on that.
Nice one. Sarah, did you want to add anything? Closing remarks.
Oh, I'm so honoured. I would just say, I think it's kind of what you just said, along with the lady at the back who was talking about when you get given tasks. I think in a lot of, if you're ever doing a lot of things, sometimes people say, oh, you want to explain what you do, but not how you do it. You don't want to give away too much. I think it's the other way around. Like you said, you have to explain how you would approach something, how you would think about it, and not necessarily all the exact things that you would do. And I think, like, I come from a marketing background. Whenever you apply for marketing jobs, they always want you to do like some big take-home task where you do the whole marketing strategy for like 6 months. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that for you. But I will tell you how I would approach it. I'll tell you how I would think about it. I'll tell you the things that I would look at in order to change. And I think it's similar to what you were just saying. I think it's like, think about how you would do it. Don't necessarily get into like what you would do because you just don't know. You're not in the job yet. That's my closing remark.
Yes, very good. So I'm gonna give all of you guys. Let's give a huge round of applause to the panel. Annie, Owen, Sarah, Omar, and Yankee. Thank you guys so much for your time.